Yellowstone supervolcano, smoking gun discovery made after the U.S. Geological Survey investigation. Yellowstone volcano scientists uncovered what they call the smoking gun that makes the supervolcano so deadly after more than 5 years of studying this area. The caldera of Yellowstone is located below Yellowstone National Park. It spreads across the states of Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana, and is classified supervolcano because of its super eruptions that could affect the world globally. The caldera formed during the last three eruptions, 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and 630,000 years ago. That was a double eruption, 170 years apart. Since then, it's had many other eruptions. 70,000 years ago, a lava eruption, and another 80 eruptions since then. And some of them have been hydrothermal. One 5,300 years ago was hydrothermal that created Mary Lake. So there are those that claim that it could be overdue. But until the 60s, the U.S. Geological Survey was not sure why the area was so geologically active. We know that it has over 60% of the world's geysers and over 10,000 geothermal areas. It has geysers, fumaroles, mud pots, new geothermal areas coming up every so often. A new one found just north of the Yellowstone caldera. Now, the supervolcano series revealed that USGS commissioned a huge project. They wanted to find out more about what was going on underneath the caldera. We know that they've found recently that underneath the magma chamber there is a huge magma reservoir just above the mantle plume. And well, of course, Yellowstone is one of the best examined and monitored supervolcanoes in the world. There are about 20 in the world. And they believe that it has the biggest magma reservoir. So the series said in 2013, geologists covered the park in seismometers. When they examined their data, they found Yellowstone averaged over 25 earthquakes a week. We're talking about from tiny to big. Now, it was, they say, the most seismically active area of the U.S. outside California. But no one knew exactly why it was so active. The U.S. Geological Survey commissioned a huge study of the area, and the man they chose for the job was Bob Christensen. And his investigations first alerted people to the threat underground. Christensen and his team realized that Yellowstone was the site of a large volcanic eruption. The study was funded by several agencies including NASA, the National Park Service, and of course USGS. And Dr. Christensen explained that a thick layer of ash and debris covered the bedrock. It must have come from a volcano. Ash and debris. He said there was enough material to bury Texas under 5 feet of ash. But Bob wanted to find the smoking gun, the volcano the ash had come from. Now, we know that most volcanoes are easily recognized from their cone shape, but Bob could not find any sign of a cone in Yellowstone. And over the next 5 years, he was carefully mapping the terrain. He found something more astonishing. It was a crater so large it was impossible to see it even from the air. Dr. Christensen helped develop theories on a new type of natural threat, of course, calling it a supervolcano. It was so huge. The series said this was the site of a supervolcano, but how had it formed? He says several miles beneath every volcano is a magma chamber, an area of molten rock. In the case of a supervolcano, the magma chamber is huge. It's tens of miles in diameter, and when the pressure gets too much, the magma erupts and the ground above collapses into the partly empty chamber, creating a giant depression in the earth, the caldera. And the caldera was enormous. The whole center of Yellowstone Park had once blown out and up. So that's perhaps one of the depressions, is where we have the Yellowstone Lake at the southeast part of the caldera. But that whole thing is depressed, as we can see from various images. USGS previously talked about this matter, that the volcano, it could be overdue for an eruption, although many geologists say that it's a hydrothermal reaction that we should be very careful of because of all the geysers there. Yellowstone Volcano Observatory scientist in charge Jacob Lowenstern said in 2014, when you see people claiming it's overdue, usually the numbers they come up with say the last eruption was 640,000 years ago, but it erupts every 600,000 years. But in fact, if you average the eruption of 2.1 million, 1.3 million, and 640,000 years, if you average those numbers, you come up with something over 700,000. So in reality, if you tried to make the argument, you'd be overdue, you would not be overdue for another 70,000 years. And recently they said, after what we had on December 9th with the White Island volcano eruption, which exploded because of the water inside the crater, and that was a surprising eruption. This is something that can happen in Yellowstone, that has over 60% of the world's geysers, as we know. Steamboat Geyser has recently picked up activity, March of 2018. It had 32 eruptions in 2018 and 48 eruptions in 2019. And it has, of course, eruption records breaking. So it's changing, it's heaving, it's deforming, it's inflating, it's deflating. It's a volcano which has a lot of activity, but it's normal from what the geologists are saying. It is a supervolcano. It has a huge magma reservoir. They say it goes all the way down to the border of Mexico. And so if you take that radius and extend it towards the north, it goes obviously beyond the border of Canada. And that's how huge that magma reservoir is. And recently, last April, the scientists, the geologists found that magma plume is coming from Baja. And the plume that supplies magma to the west coast, the high threat volcanoes there, is the same plume that also has another branch going towards Yellowstone. So it's like a Y shape coming from the Baja Peninsula. The left arm, the western arm, goes to the west coast, and the eastern arm goes through up to Yellowstone. So I'll leave a link below for you for this on Express UK by Callum Hoare. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.